The newest patch for Diablo 4, which introduced the Gauntlet, also brought us huge nerfs to our previous rogue build. But hidden in the patch notes were some surprising buffs that we really weren't expecting coming into the Gauntlet and newly introduced in Season 3. The main ones I'm going to highlight here completely change how we are building our rogue. Not necessarily in the aspects that we're using, but it's going to really change some of the affixes that we use and also the main skill that we use, which is going to be Barrage. What's great about Barrage is that previously what we were achieving with both rapid fire and pen shot together, rapid fire for single target and pen shot for that AoE clear, we can now get with just one skill. What does this do? Well, it opens up an entire extra skill bar that we can have on our tree for something like a mobility skill, which is really great for the Gauntlet. And then even in a regular end game build, you can really, do whatever you want with that extra skill. We're going to use Shadow Step, and I'm going to show you exactly how I've built my rogue. I have alternate build planners for Ubers, no Ubers, and Gauntlet, or just your regular endgame Nightmare 100 builds. So this is what the build looks like, and I'll just go into it right now. One important thing to note about Barrage is that if you really want to get that single target damage, you have to be right up in the personal space of whatever boss you are trying to kill. So it's not like rapid fire in that it's just going to fire in a straight line. Think of it more like a multi-shot Amazon from Diablo 2 or something along those lines, where you really have this nice spread of your arrows, but it also can shotgun. So the closer you get, each one of those arrows can hit, and your damage to a single target will go up exponentially if you are right up in that boss's face. So here you can actually see, when I use Barrage from further away, it does way less damage than when I'm right up in the boss's face. And that's going to be really important if you want to maximize your clear speed and play most efficiently. I highly recommend you checking out the build planners in the link description. There's a drop-down menu where you can see endgame, both Ubers, non-Ubers, and also Gauntlet with Ubers and non-Ubers. And I've even gone so far as to show what a construct looks like without the Uber stones and what it looks like with the Uber stones. So not only is there no Ubers on your gear, but also on your construct. And this build works just fine for Eternal as well. So with that said, let's get into the gear that I was using in the Gauntlet itself, and I'm going to go over sort of what my gear is. Now, a lot of things are changing because of the patch, so I'm going to go over kind of what I'm using and why, and what would be ideal. I don't have all the best gear, I don't have all the ideal gear, but the planner will have all of the ideal gear and affixes that you're going to want. So here I'm using Godslayer Crown. I don't have a Shaco yet. I could salvage all of my Uber Uniques and get one, so I might do that soon. But right now I'm using a Godslayer Crown. Shaco or Harlequin Crest is also a viable option. We have Resistant Assailant on our chest piece now. And here we're doing, damage reduction and max life. We're using Barrage gloves. We do not need crit chance anywhere on our gear now. Okay, this is very, very important. Getting crit chance, it is almost a wasted stat because if you notice, we are using a Skyhunter bow, which makes every first direct damage we deal be a critical strike. So what that means is that when we're trying to build up our precision key passive, you'll notice that you can gain an extra stack of precision when you crit. Our first hit is always going to be a crit, so that's going to give us 2 precision stacks, and then the other 2 hits to get our combo points up to 3 are also going to give us precision, because you just get a precision every time you attack. See, so every time you attack, you're going to get a precision stack, and then your first hit is always going to give you an additional stack, meaning you're going to get your 4 precision stacks just with your natural combo point buildup, and you're not going to have to do anything extra for that. The main mistake I'm seeing on a lot of builds, even the top Gauntlet builds, are people are still using crit chance with a precision build, and you really don't need to do that anymore. Get an extra stat that's going to help you out. I don't have the best gear. I was just using the only pair of gloves I had with Barrage. Ideal affixes are all going to be in the planner. On gloves, you're looking for, attack speed on dodge, regular attack speed, crit damage, Barrage. Dexterity was okay for a little extra damage, but you get the point. For our pants, if we are using the Gauntlet build, we are going to want to run Tybalt's Will. Tybalt's Will combined with Ravagers and Concealment and Resistant Assailant. We're going to have so much uptime on this damage because we have so much Unstoppable that it's really, really a nice damage boost here for Tybalt's Will. If you're doing Nightmare 100s and you need the armor, Juggernauts on the pants will help get you to that armor cap. We're running very low armor for Gauntlet because it's only essentially the difficulty of a Nightmare 70, so we really don't need to be armor capped for the Gauntlet. Ravagers on the boots. Now, if these are Gauntlet boots, you're going to want Shrine buff duration. I have not rolled Shrine buff duration yet. I used all my materials attempting to roll it. So I need to get back into Helltides to farm it up. You'll notice I score about 500,000 without any Shrine buff duration on my boots or amulet. So having that, it'll add up to about 50%, and it's effectively like a multiplier of your score, like 50% multiplier because of how the Gauntlet works and the pillars and everything. So Shrine buff duration, if you're running the Gauntlet, is just going to be so much better for you. I ran without it. I still got a pretty decent score, but there's always room for improvement. So Sky Hunter on the bow, especially with all the changes that we saw, the weapon mastery feature with crossbows got nerfed into the ground. So Sky Hunter effectively is now a just as strong or a stronger option in some cases if you have a nice Sky Hunter bow. This one rolled 925 with a perfect affix roll. Now the crit strike damage I would have liked to be higher, but it is what we have. So I'm using it, and I find that the damage is pretty good. We have accelerating on the amulet here. This could also be Edge Masters. But for the Gauntlet, I like the attack speed. It just helps things go nice and smoothly, nice and quickly. You no longer need weapon mastery on your amulet. A recommended mod that, of course, I recommend for Gauntlet would be Shrine buff duration on the amulet again. You're probably going to want Exploit now instead of Weapon Mastery for that damage boost and just to get more one-shots for that extra damage to healthy. If you are not using Starless Skies, I have a Starless Skies, so I'm using it, but here you could replace this with Edge Masters, or you could put Accelerating here and Edge Masters on your amulet here. The build planner has all of that, so I'm using kind of an in-between of the no Uber and Uber version because I have a Starless Sky, but I don't have a Shaco. And then the newest affix, Branching Volleys, which really enables Barrage. By giving it that really nice AoE clear. It was always pretty decent for single target, and that doesn't change, but now you have a nice AoE clear with Branching Volleys. So I still need to find a better affix. This was just the one I had on hand. I really wasn't saving this affix before. Expectant, again, because we are building up combo points. Expectant is going to be some pretty good damage. In it, as an alternative to Expectant, actually, Inner Calm got boosted up a lot. So I think for some cases you might want to be running Inner Calm here instead of Expectant because you can get up to a 40% damage multiplier. But we're moving around so much in the Gauntlet that you're really not standing still for too long where you would see the benefit from Inner Calm necessarily. So Expectant we like, and of course Condemnation to help with our combo point buildup and damage. This is an example of pants that we could use, and then of course it's a combo point build. Just go over the skills real quick. Puncture, this is to apply vulnerable and to build up our precision stacks. Barrage is our main skill. We're going to go with the extra vulnerable. You don't need extra crit chance anywhere. So we don't have crit chance on our rings, on our gloves. We don't need it in our skill tree because we are going to have 100% crit chance on our first hit with Sky Hunter, and we also have 100% crit chance when we use our precision stacks. So we are basically never going to be using Barrage without the precision stacks, so you don't need the crit chance. Why not get the extra vulnerable? Siphoning Strike gives you some sustain, Sturdy for damage reduction. Stutter Step is really nice for Abattoir of Zir, and I just have it in the build for the end game build as well. Movement speed's great, help you get around. Shadow Step, this is our extra unstoppable and so our way to break CC, and then also really great mobility, which we use in combination with dash. So we're just zooming around. Weapon Mastery, you get some added damage. Then we're using Concealment, and this is in combination with Night Stalker to lessen our Shadow Imbue cooldown, so we can basically have 100% uptime on Shadow Imbuement. Exploit, I recommend running Exploit on your Amulet as well. It's boosted a little just from the Sky Hunter, but Exploit and Malice for some extra damage. Shadow Imbuement up to Mixed Shadow Imbue for that extra damage. Innervation for some sustain on your energy. Haste for movement speed, energy regen, impetus for some damage, and precision, of course, because this is how the whole build. Our Paragon board. It is very similar to my previous Paragon board, but we had to move a few things around so that we could maintain, our boost on like Havoc here. Since we're not using a crossbow anymore, we lost the all attributes roll on our two-hander, which helped us get to some of these rare nodes. So basically we just reordered things, and we took a hit on some of the damage reduction nodes here because it really wasn't needed. We lost about 25% damage to healthy, but otherwise we were able to maintain all of our other boosts. Here you can see we're still getting our damage to elites, our armor, and we moved the Cunning Stratagem board to be a little bit early so we can get extra damage, core skill damage, some res, all that good stuff. So again, the planner will have all of it, but I'll just go over it really quickly. Canny on our starter board. You can see everything we've got. Then we go right into Cunning Stratagem, where we put Versatility. Then for our third board, we come over to No Witness with Combat. Then we have our Night Stalker, which enables our cooldown on the Shadow Imbuement, and this is on the Tricks of the Trade board. And then we go up to Cheap Shot with Exploit. This is going to make sure that our hits are always applying vulnerable. And then we end on Eldritch Bounty just to get that legendary node. For our construct, if you don't have the Uber Stones, this is what it looks like. I don't have the Uber Stones. I don't have Shaco, so I could do some more farming to make this build a lot better, but I'm going to obviously give you guys what's the best in the planner itself. So Tempest with Fortify support, Mockery, and Safeguard. These are helpful for staying alive, but also taunting enemies and bringing everything in. Plus Flash of Adrenaline, and we use Gripping. If we don't have the unique stones, we use Gripping here and Mockery. Gripping will pull everything, which is actually quite nice, and the Mockery is going to taunt it. So this is pretty nice for grouping stuff up, actually, especially in the Gauntlet. It kind of helps. And then Duration support and Tactical support for Flash of Adrenaline. So that is what our construct looks like, and that's the build. So you've seen my Gauntlet run. I think maybe this weekend when I have some more time, I'm going to try to farm up these last missing pieces of the Uber build and try to get some better affix rolls on my items themselves, especially look for that shrine duration buff. So we're going to want to roll that. So once we do that, we could probably put up some pretty competitive times in the Gauntlet, I think. The example of my run is here, and I think the routing leaves a bit to be desired, of course, as well. But we're just having fun with it. It's been about a day, and we've been testing the Barrage build. It's in a place where I really like it, and now we can work on getting these final pieces that you see in the guide here. And make our push. So this is the first week of the Gauntlet. There's going to be many more weeks of this coming later. And I think this is going to be a great build for you to get through it and put up some competitive times. So good luck to you out there. I'll see you out there. Maybe I'll see you on the leaderboard, and let me know what you think of the build, and I'll see you in the next one.